Friday, Saturday night, it was like 46 days, Jeff.
Right.
We're making
Yeah,
progress.
it's like, because the closer it gets, each day is a higher percentage. That's about the max amount that lawyers can do for math.
So I'm bragging about my freshman at UVA on the mock trial team.
Uh-huh.
This
She's
is your grandchild,
granddaughter.
granddaughter,
I've been bragging about her too.
but you should.
Well, no, but since she wants to be a litigator and Jim's law, seems good, so she's been asked to do the closing arguments for mock trial competitions, which is highly unusual for a freshman
Yeah,
in their semester.
yeah, that's a big honor.
That's very exciting.
Very excited, yeah.
I don't know.
As I said, you would not want to be your grandmother because she's very contrary. All the time, unlike Jim Wilson.
Have you ever talked to members of my book group? They think I'm about the most contrary person out there.
I just can't believe it.
Yeah.
Well,
we can be proud of our children.
you can ask me, Jim contrary, or just sometimes.
A Grant, you have a very handsome haircut. Look at you. All just like,
Grant is becoming quite the politician. If I didn't know him, I think Grant was running for mayor.
Right.
oh,
Hello, Miss Sandra.
hi, Audra, how are you?
How are things at Dawes Arboretum?
I don't know.
Are you not there anymore?
No, I finished what I said.
Anywhere you want.
Anywhere you want, I don't
didn't
think,
see your name tag.
okay,
So,
okay. You finished your internship or whatever it's called?
Yeah, I finished my American year in ecological landscape designer instead of gardens.
At where?
Side Gardens, it's a native nursery. Up in Delaware.
Side of the Gardens? Oh, yeah, I've been up there. Mary and I went up there. I went up there. I spent a lot of money there.
So do I. You can spend a lot of money in any of.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, at the grocery store too, right?
Yeah, right. Well, congratulations.
Thank you. It's been fun.
Well, there were nice women up there.
Yes,
And such a pretty nursery. It was immaculate when I was up there.
you went to the new one
Well, right,
since they moved like a year ago.
right. We were visiting visiting a friend in North Carolina, and I said I was, wondering what to bring her, wine, flowers. And she said, I would like to have some plants.
I have it as much under control as I can at this point. Any future worrying is just, not gonna help, right?
Hello, Mary.
Yeah.
I've seen your wallpaper for your bathroom.
I think.
Oh, that's not in my
We
bag.
need to
Was it?
probably our way in on.
In your house or-
Things, but I think if people like.
Did you have Tom pass on it?
Alter adding any comments they might have.
Okay.
And then.
Was it
we have
Rebecca?
a friend.
That,
You know,
yeah, that
this
was
person-
Wall Street Journal, I think.
House.
I think where it was
His
from.
first house to the second house.
Is it Wall Street Journal or?
My neighbor.
Maybe you can point them out.
Yes,
And I'm
yes.
guessing it'll be obvious because I don't think we usually have a lot of guests.
He's a retired architect, retired at a young age. His wife is a teacher for special needs.
Oh, wow.
Very nice gentleman. Interested in saving trees, so that's a good thing.
So what does she use like that?
Yeah. Well, he's not in favor, especially for like Celeste was suggesting, unless she'd like to change.
Sure.
Yes, that's
How long did that go on?
That's kind of my thing for the committees that I'm on.
Yeah.
When you have suggestions, if you'd like to champion it, I feel it's worthy. If you want to delegate someone, I don't think it's so.
I think my concern was that because we had a lot of applications that have taken a lot of time, she was feeling like we didn't have enough time to talk about projects and policies. That's how I understood it.
To be clear, we're live on.
Oh,
Okay,
thank you. Okay.
Oh, I'm definitely.
3 minutes and we will start if we have a forum.
What we do?
Well, if we see Audrey, and there's.
No, there's four, because we're in the seventh one.
Oh, okay. But I better learn that. I better learn that.
I'm giving you this free, Mary, under the condition that you get be that garden. That's a condition. Okay.
If I could do it for any.
You know, do
All right.
we know
Okay,
who's joined on
that's-
iPad?
No, I can't.
I'll stay on it, I'll stay on it. Oh, like I said, I eat other Monday, so. I'm responding to them. You don't need to be a test, so that we can. Sometimes you have to be a test, you know? I know, you'll be a nice one test. It's the patrons they love test.
Saint,
Thank you.
Saint Joseph usually saves me on a lot of things.
Is he the one that sells the houses?
He is, I've got a collection of them in my office, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
This is nice to meet you.
Yeah.
What did he have?
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
So,
Get it in my kitchen on my. Bookcase in there. I always really tight branch.
Yeah, I know, isn't it? It's the joy of not having to hear it. Oh my gosh.
And then up.
All right.
yeah,
Okay.
we don't want to hold
Did
it.
you look at the Commonwealth plans and the trees?
I did, yes.
And what's your?
I like them all. I picked them all out.
Oh, you did,
Yeah.
okay. You know, I'm never quite sure, you know, on those parks, who does what, so.
Yes.
Susan, I went out and raided our gas, like you told me I was.
Did you take it over?
Yeah.
I admitted her, so let's see if she's
Celeste, can you hear us?
mute yours.
You should be able to hear us.
Mm-hmm.
Celeste, if you can hear us, let us know. You're, looks like you're on mute.
He's muted.
I can call her.
Well,
Yeah, there was muted.
So they can hear, but we can't hear them.
Correct. They need to unmute. They need to unmute themselves.
Is the iPad Ellen?
Probably for Barb.
Hey, Susan, hi, I can hear everybody, but I can't seem to get on, get off mute. It said that the host had everybody on mute, so maybe that's,
Okay, well, Grant and Matt are working on this, so let's see.
So we will go ahead and get started while we try to solve this problem.
so we'll go back to that.
Do you need any information from her?
No.
I think we, all the electronics work on your end. I will look for,
Okay, otherwise just text me, okay, on this number. Okay, thanks, try.
It's the Wi-Fi password single use.
You want me to?
No single use.
There we go. I think I'm all set now.
Okay, Celeste is unmuted.
Yeah,
You hear her?
Yep. It came up. I saw that. It just popped up.
She could not hear. Okay, how about Ellen?
Are you playing the YouTube video on your phone? Oh, why am I hearing it? It's when we have. Person calling in.
So what I did was I tested it on our network. Like I had Emily Buckley in the other office. And she spoke through the meeting. It was fine. Right.
Celeste, can you try talking so we can see if we
Sure.
can hear you?
Yeah, I'm back. I'm here.
Okay, we can hear you.
We can hear you, okay. I just texted Ellen, and Barb was going to try to.
All right, why don't we go ahead and get moving with our meeting?
You tell her to okay, so I thought this was gonna be from the Celeste had headphones. We're hearing her audio on her computer through our audio. She's listening to it, but she also has her mic on. It can't go out and come back. That, you know what I'm saying? It's taking up the audio on her computer. And it's playing.
I sort of heard what Jim was saying. I don't think he was speaking into the mic. If that was directed for me to hear as well.
Celeste, if you can mute yourself when you're not speaking.
Oh, sure.
Cut down some echo here. So,
Right.
Thank you.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
all right, so we have called the roll. And we have appointed Audra as an alternate. We have one correction to the minutes that were distributed for October 15th. Celeste was listed as present and voting, and she denies that is true. So with that correction, does anyone have any other corrections?
This one who approved. And I was also listed as absent.
Okay, we will remove that as well there. I think it's on the that action right there. So we will correct the minutes to indicate, I think they do indicate that you weren't present, but there are places where we indicated then not be present, you approve things. So we will correct that. With those corrections, is there a motion to approve the minutes? Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Bye.
Opposed? We have approved the minutes. Next item are small victories and celebrations, trees for Bexley, Susan or
Yes.
Ellen?
Yes, I'm doing this on behalf of Ellen and the chair, Mr. Wilson. Trees for Bexley is at a total of $36,708. We promised the city $40,000 for the North Clifton project. So we're very close. We had 82 donors, and the average gift was $448, which I think is extraordinary. So, and this campaign goes through about the first week in January for the year-end checks. And Bexley and Bloom is also having a great year. So far, we're at $17,135, and our goal there was $15,000. And we have 122 donors with the average gift of $140. So I think, I think the city, the tree commission, Texas and advisors should rejoice in the fact that the community seems to like it's being done. So congratulations all.
I know, told me it was that, he didn't go.
That takes us down to the extraordinarily successful landmark tree, not golf. Field.
Yeah, so. We were able to do our bus tour, which was a good idea rather than a golf tour because our weather was a little chilly. We were given good information about the 2025 oak tree. We have great treats. I would like to announce that 2026, we're going to feature the ginkgo tree, which is my favorite tree. And so I hope that I did include a little email. The leaves are gone now, but I hope that you'll have a favorite ginkgo tree and that you'll make a note of it. They were glorious this fall and they had a party about a week ago and let go of their beautiful yellow leaves. So thanks for your support and we'll look forward to 2026. It was 2025. But
Oh, sorry.
2024 was a good year too.
We haven't gotten over celebrating too. All right, thank you, Sheila, for all your work on that. Mary, Bexley Bloomers.
I'm not gonna say too much because we're having our luncheon and some of the information is going to be used at luncheon for fabulous prizes for those of you. But I just want to say that we closed out the season on November the 3rd with our annual pumpkin pickup at Franklin Park. So I thank Ron and Bruce for all their help with that as always. And we had a really good season, lots of volunteers, lots of fun, lots of good work. Thanks to the mayor for all that you did. Thanks to Grant for being the celebrity bloomer this year. Elena, you too. And of course, Jim as well, and regulars. Thanks for everything that you did to help make our year another successful season.
Thank you.
And by the way, the ginkgo was probably the most posted thing I saw on Facebook about trees. And everybody is just so amazed by all the leaves, and when they fell, even more impressed by that. Okay.
Also, as I think most people on the commission know, some great coverage on mulch volcanoes by the Columbus Dispatch.
Yes.
I don't think we have any resident comments. I know Eric's here, but we have him down later in the agenda. Landscape applications. Yes, that may not be familiar to anyone here. Elena Andrews. I mentioned Elena Walters not here. So we'll just hear a presentation on each of these applications separately from Elena, and then we will, unless if we have resident comments, we'll hear those. I don't think we do, and then we'll ask you questions. And just for clarity on the Commonwealth proposal, you're asking for comments to be transmitted to
As a recommendation.
as a okay. Roosevelt is a project that we've been asking for a long time. And so we would, I think, if we're ready to take action, approve the design as we can raise funds or the city sees fit to move forward with that. It's all yours, Alan.
Excellent. Everyone. All right, Roosevelt medians. We've been working on this for a long time. We started in February of this year at a workshop with the immediate residents around the two Roosevelt medians, right? If you could go to the Franklin County auditor, this one, yes. So the residents that are around that, we sent out letters to all of them and have them come in and just had an open session to sort of say, what is it that you would like to see? And I will summarize it so I don't take up too much time. The most important thing is the 4th of July parade. and to maintain the usability as much as possible of those medians, because this is a massive parade route and it's a big, nice green lawn for people to sit on and hang out and watch the parade go by. The biggest complaint are the crosswalks. So currently, right now with the crosswalks, they are odd in that they only run kind of north-south with the connection, and then east-west. Only one corner is accessible, the other one is not. If you are going east-west on Denver, you have to walk around the front of the median, so you're kind of walking into traffic. And so on the east side, crossing Denver, going north-south on Roosevelt, those are accessible, but the other side is not. So it's a little bit of it's a mishap. The other thing that was listed that was very confusing is just the traffic pattern. In terms of it, essentially, people will come to that, the four-way intersection is actually on what you see as North Roosevelt. And the other one is also North Roosevelt, but it's more of a lane. And so it's very confusing for people to sort of say, where do we stop? On the mini Roosevelt side, there's a stop sign that goes north and south. On the other side is a four-way stop. It's just people who don't really know the area are very confused by doing that. So those were kind of the main complaints. The other issue is there are a whole lot of maples there, a lot of sugar maples that are there that are just the service routes are just destroying everything. So back in the 70s, when people were growing up, they remember playing football and playing soccer. It's really difficult to have lawn grow there. They would like more lawn, but lawn like sun and not necessarily a lot of trees. And a lot of trees have been declining, particularly the maples, over time. And the city has just elected not to put anything back in, waiting to see what was going to happen with this plan. There was a lot of discussion about they don't want to have a park. They don't want to have a playground, they don't want to have this, do they have walking paths, do they have perennial gardens? And in talking with then the city and the maintenance requirements, as well as what this is in terms of a median, some of the big ideas that were fun to think about were not necessarily appropriate to this as a median. For instance, they wanted to have end caps that said Roosevelt medians. That then sets up a difficult precedent in terms of right now within the city, the end caps are really at the beginning and the end of streets, particularly, Fair, Bexley Park, everything going from Drexel to Gould, or they're at major entry points. This kind of being a mid-block felt that then that would do a disservice to the Bellwood Avenue medians, to the Pleasant Ridge medians that are going in. And so it was elected to sort of keep things toned down a little bit. How can we improve this space for the residents, but also make people who are walking by actually enjoy it? So we did an assessment, if we could go Grant to the plan. We did an assessment of what is existing, and so on the left, those images in the kind of the darker green, those are all of the existing trees. So there are five silver maples, my readers, there are 2 sugar maples, there's 1 Turkish silver, there's a pear tree, there's a swamp white oak, there's a willow oak, there's 6 of them, 1 red oak and 1 elm. In looking at those, looking at the health of the trees, the viability of the trees, an oak is the street tree for Roosevelt. And so we decided to keep all of the oaks, no matter kind of what type of species they were. And the maples that were kind of dying, these are planted actually just really too close together, one for the health of the tree and one for the health of having any kind of viable lawn. So we elected to go through and remove anything that was not an oak. And so you can kind of see what is kind of being placed. The dark green ones are the ones that are staying. And the new oak that we're proposing for this is the sawtooth oak. And the reason why we chose a sawtooth is a willow oak there are 6 of them that are existing. They have a very similar leaf structure to the sawtooth. So the sawtooth and the willow don't have the kind of either the globe leaves or the pointed leaves like a red oak. It is more of an ellipse. One has smooth edges and one has serrated. So again, with just the general idea of let's educate the public about the trees in Bexley, that was why we chose that tree. Oh, thank you. So you can kind of see both of those. There was an idea, so if we could go back to the plan, looking at the intersection. So with the intersection, we decided to introduce a little bit of a road diet inspired by Drexel Avenue. So with one of these, you can start to see the sidewalks now, really making sure that the sidewalks can go north, south, and east, west. Right, so we wanna make sure that those would actually be redone, but then you can see we have now bump outs to slow the traffic, so the width of Denver is 30 feet. And we wanted to bring that down to 22 feet. We've done that by actually pumping out the central medians. And the idea is that those would bump out and the little part that you see in purple would be planted with the annuals that are planted at Drexel Circle, at the corners of Havenwood, at the corners of Commonwealth Park, just to start to tie the language of the flowers all together within the city. The red, what I'm proposing is this is a beautiful red brick street, and we love our red brick streets, and it has gorgeous sandstone curves, and we love our sandstone curves. We would try to recoup as much of that as we're bumping it out, and that pass through the median provides a couple of things. One, it's a resting place for cars and for strollers and for people to go by, but we're not necessarily going to have an accessible ramp up to a sidewalk and then back down, right? So once you come off the concrete sidewalk and you're on brick, you stay on brick, but you have a secure path to walk across. So we are essentially recouping. I didn't want to lose more brick, or it's very valuable in our city. With the mini Roosevelt, North Roosevelt, we've shortened that width entrance to 11 feet, rather than having it be the 20+ feet or so that it was. The thought of that is that would allow basically traffic kind of going, it can still go north and south, talk about it should go one way, that just be necessary. There's not that many homes and there's not that much traffic on that. So there is, the thought of that is if someone is coming along Denver and they see that, it's gonna read more as a driveway entrance than it would an actual street that you might turn on, and then you might be able to see the stop sign a little bit more clearly. That is then set within the flower beds on the medians and then on the east side of Roosevelt. If we scroll up a little bit more to the gravel sitting area, the sitting area at Commonwealth Pond, in the arboretum there, people really enjoy it. There's people out there sitting there all the time. And we wanted to introduce a similar avenue here. The thought, it being someone could come in, we are still trying to maintain open green space. Kids want to throw a football or kick a soccer ball, but be able to come off of the street a little bit, tucked underneath an existing willow oak and a new tree with some boxwoods around it with the Adirondack chairs. Just so residents or people who are stopping by can actually come sit and work with that. This still, if approved, would need to go to David Koch. He has done a preliminary, who's a city engineer, and he has done a preliminary, say, yes, this is where we might need to change some of the turning radii and all of that. But in general, this as an idea can work. It might be shaped slightly different based on traffic engineering requirements. But essentially, a lot of the radius and everything that you see, I took directly from what is currently in existence on Drexel Avenue. When we presented this to the residents at a second meeting, everyone was in full support. They liked the idea of still maintaining the trees, but not necessarily having it quite so dense, so they can try to work with the lawn. Part of what the project would be is, since a lot of the trees are going to be removed, we'd be able to actually grind out some of those roots and flatten out that lawn and make it not quite so bumpy, and just take advantage of having an open space that when we plant new trees in, we can kind of grade. And there would be, and this is my OCD, regular mulch beds around the base of the trees to protect them. Right now, they're all over the place. Sometimes they have circles, sometimes it's just up to the side, just to make it have a little bit more consistency. And the mulch would come right down to the curb, and then it would be lawn otherwise, just to make sure that it's a little bit easier to mow. And
Thank you. Are there any resident comments? Hearing none. You ready for questions, Ellen?
yes.
Sheila,
I have no question.
Linda?
Occasion, I haven't had much occasion to drive up with Roosevelt, so how do the people that live on the street side feel about the narrow? Because sometimes people that are there want to go north versus going south to get onto the east part of Roosevelt.
They said that they did not see an issue with it. They said that rarely do you have two people that are kind of head to head in those instances. And if that ever did happen, the person would be able to just back up. They appreciated having not a random cars that are turning there and getting all kinds of confused with all of that. So the residents, and we had a number of residents who were actually on that side of Roosevelt and no one had an issue with it.
I like the tree removal aspect to get back to grass.
Mary?
Is that a calendar of errors?
Yes.
I was to say that. The gravel patio or gravel sitting area, I do like the vines, but they're so messy, and I'm just wondering. Maybe a brick patio would be better, just because it's close to the street and. So the brick and it's less secrets, because I don't have kids on. Okay, just a thought. But otherwise, it looks great.
Roger?
Was there a reason for the agricultural choice over like the Edinburgh area? The technology would be the same, it would be a native versus essentially invasive.
So it was mainly in terms of the size, so where you see the dotted area, that's the canopy size, and so I chose that one because one, it's an oak, and two, it doesn't get quite as big as some of the other ones.
Right.
With Fair Avenue, we have so many new oaks, I don't know if you guys have had an opportunity to go down there, but we have it in Bavaria planted there. And so with this one, we just chose a different one. I didn't want them to get too big and overwhelming, so that's why we went with this one.
Okay, because I was looking quickly, because I wasn't sure about the size, but it looks like they are.
Really
The same, like 40 to 60 tall, 40 to 60 wide. I just thought native versus. Be good, and they both have a bit elongated leaf shape. And every area, or the, sorry, it's the blue, focus over area, is better all colored.
Thank you. Anything else? Susan?
Well, a couple of things, I was going to just make some observations from the meeting that in February and the one that Ellen and Brand hosted a couple of weeks ago. It was probably one of or two of the best resident consultant meetings that I've attended, where everybody was we're all in the same boat, rowing in the same direction. And at the first meeting, people had sort of a list of things they wanted, let's see, a dog disposal area and a free little library and this and that. And when Ellen came back and had simplified the plan, there was no angst about it. I mean, they seemed to really enjoy it, really appreciate the reasons for it. So I think the residents are excited, and that's, they're not staying up at night worrying about what's going to happen. So I want to, praise both Grant and Ellen for that project, and then mention, Grant, that when we talked about how you would even out the soil levels, that you had some thoughts, and I thought people would like to know how you're going to make that area a little bit more cohesive.
Yeah, so once we get the stem cell ground out, we would definitely bring in more topsoil. See develop, bring in smoother, walkable.
And then, Ellen, the one thing we didn't talk about at the meeting was the boxwood hedge, or we did talk about it a little bit. And so my sense is you're comfortable with the fact that whatever malady the boxwood had before, it's been sort of taken care of, or it's passed through the district.
Yes, there was a couple of years ago, people were freaking out. And very concerned about a light that was going through, and it really never came to pass. And so the only thing that I've seen now, the Buxus sempervirens variety has been a little bit iffy, but green velvet and green gems, which are ones the city uses quite a bit in all of its installations, have been looking fine.
And then I think you shared some sort of timeline with the residents, so you may want to.
So
update everyone.
the hope that we would be able to do with this is that we would actually, if we can get approval, that we would try to do demolition in the spring if we're able to. And then this would have to be coordinated with the city street project, and the city street projects usually happen in the fall. And so it would be something where if we can get the demo done and start to do some of the remediation of the lawn and the soil and get that kind of growing over the summer. And then come the fall, I would personally would like to have the street work done before we put the trees in, just to have them be safe. And it would be awesome if we could get it completed by the end of next year.
Anything else, Susan?
No, but you may want to call on Celeste if she is.
I was going.
Oh, you're going to do that, okay?
Celeste, are you there? Do you have any comments or questions?
Oh, she sent me a text, I missed it.
While we're waiting for Celeste, I just actually had a question for Grant, which is, will this put additional maintenance demands on your department? And is that something that you feel like you can accomplish with the resources you have?
No, it would not. So this, so the islands are all contracted out. So Bexley Park, Bryan, Fair, Roosevelt, Denver are all contracted out. So no, this would not be the actual work on this.
Great. Celeste.
Celeste sent me a comment, so
Sure.
she says, my comment has been addressed through some questions prior in Susan's reflection of Roosevelt Community Meeting.
I just.
Yes, Sheila.
I would just like to make one comment in regards to the location of what you're working with. It's really enhancing on what this is about, and I think everyone appreciates it, wants to preserve such a quality of what that street brings, whether it's on the parade, whether you're selling a house to those people on Roosevelt. I mean, it's really great, and I think the plans are wonderful. So thank you.
So is there further discussion? The one thing I would say is, since Walter couldn't be here, I think my sense is that we want to recommend this, but I would suggest maybe we recommend it with the request that Elena get Walter's comments before presenting this on to the rec board, which I think is the group. No, I'm sorry, wrong project, sorry.
It's not involved.
Yeah. I can tell by the glare I'm getting from Susan.
Oh,
So we would just approve this, subject to, any additional comments or suggestions that Walter has. And Matt, do we need to do findings on this? We could just adopt a motion to approve, subject to any additional comments that the city's landscape consultant has on the project.
Yes.
Does anyone want to make that motion?
I move that we approve the plan presented by Elena for the North Roosevelt update, subject to final state, or not final state, subject to
Additional comments?
additional comments. Thank you from Walter.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor of the motion, say aye.
I,
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Ellen, and you get to stay up there for the project that I was trying to jump to. Commonwealth.
Okay, so, Grant, you stay on this one. Thank you. So Commonwealth Park, if you recall, it maybe about a year plus or so ago, we were working to, okay, I'm gonna back up even further. In 2018, when the master plan for Commonwealth Park was completed, it was decided that Columbia Avenue needed to stay open to vehicular traffic. As things moved on, developed, the arboretum was planted, things were starting to be installed. There was starting to be a little bit of a shift and a change in the attitude towards that. And we had, however, and one of the main reasons why there was a shift in the attitude towards that is that we had engaged with MKSK to help us with a new design to do, again, we've done a little bit of a road diet where we added a median in the center. We were gonna bridge it and have a pass through and all this. And long story short, it was coming in over $1 million, and it felt that we were actually including or adding more difficult challenges to cross the street with having elevated platforms and bollards and this and that, and the other thing. So we put the brakes on that. The city then had to do a major utility improvement along Columbia that was going to cause that area to be closed. We did a traffic study before it was closed, because one of the comments from 2018 was that if that street, even just that block section was closed, we were gonna have undue traffic all of a sudden on Parkview and on Drexel. We did a traffic study before it was closed, then it was closed, and a month afterwards, we did another traffic study, and there was negligible changes from one to the other. There were a couple of community members that we spoke to who said, you know, first couple of weeks was hard to remember not to turn on Parkview or Drexel, but other than that, that was fine. And it was then decided and brought forward to council to see if we could actually close that street and actually unite Commonwealth Park, just to really, just for the experience of that, and that was approved. We then, and what I'm showing here, this is an original plat of Commonwealth Park, Columbia Avenue in the middle, north is up, Parkview to the left, that's where Jeffrey Mansion is. And you can see in the center that there's that circular item, there's a circle to the left, there's a circle to the right, and that was a big inspiration in the master plan, where there would be some point of interest on the left side along Parkview, which is now the pond. There would be something in the center interest, which we're now knitting together, and then something along Drexel, which is yet to be decided. So we then moved. Grant, do you have the overall plan rather than this one? Is it maybe a different? Sure. Yes, there's one. Okay, so can we start at the bottom? We're gonna start at the bottom and work our way up. So I am speaking on behalf of Brian Jones. So this is their design. I have been working with them just basically as, you know, in a design capacity and in the knowledge of the park. I was on the committee for the master plan and obviously helping with the pond and everything. So we've had a number of meetings about what is appropriate to this, what is not appropriate. One of the biggest things that we had a small working committee outside with members from Tree Commission as well as members from the Park and Rec Board, because now technically as a park, this is under the purview of the Rec Board, but they had requested that the Tree Commission review it as you guys are the Tree Commission, and you know, what are your thoughts on that? During this, there was a lot of going back and forth about whether or not beach trees should be maintained. And we had a discussion a number of months ago here when we brought this up as a preliminary kind of idea. And it has since been determined that the viability of keeping the existing beech trees, they are the ones that were in the original sidewalk, right? This is now gone. They are not doing well, they are not thriving, they are slowly dying, they are too low in terms of the grades that we're gonna use to be able to connect. And there's really no reason to keep them, and so everyone, the committee, even talking with Grant, talking with Walter, the decision has been, this is our one chance to really knit this together and make it a beautiful project. So we are not going to put extra effort into saving trees that very well might die, because they're very fickle little trees. So the trees are gonna be removed, but we're planting in a lot of nice new trees as kind of an excitement, right, to go through that, right? And this gives us the opportunity to bring them closer together. And so it feels more like a pedestrian path rather than like, oh, hey, they're out with the street tree that it used to look like a road came through here, right? We want to change that. So starting on the southern side, this has gone through a number of iterations, and we're trying to simplify it as much as possible and just make sure that it is in keeping with the elegance and park-like setting of Commonwealth Park. You see the follies on both sides, so the restroom and the pump house. And that semicircle is indicative a little bit in remembrance of Drexel Circle, just as a semicircle. And the thought is that planter bed would be able to have a boxwood hedge, excuse me, with annuals that are similar to Drexel Circle. With then bollards on the back side, just to make sure that vehicular traffic doesn't go through. And there is then an entryway trying to knit the size of those follies together. The follies were placed with the intent that the road was going to stay there. So if we were able to redo it, potentially we would have brought them closer together, But we think this looks really beautiful. So this is very well, you can see where the sidewalks then come in.
Officially, we would not change things.
So we would come in and then come to a center kind of section, and then now there is a small alley of trees. The trees that we're proposing there are tulip poplars. And some of that is then there are a couple of beautiful kind of tulip poplars in the park, but these grow fast. They are nice, straight trees and really have that nice kind of sense of an alley coming through. We've got 8 on the south side. We then would have 3 on the north. If we go up to the center circle has gone through a couple of iterations, and now the thought is that the very center, that would be about an 18-inch high raised grassy mound, that in the center would have a new central catalpa tree. And the catalpa tree, there are 2 glorious catalpas that are currently right now in Commonwealth, and at some point they're going to pass away. And so this is almost just a replacement of that and a nod to those 2 beautiful trees, or those 2 trees that I don't even know how old they are. On the 4 corners, we would like to introduce the southern magnolia trees, the Bracken Grounds Beauty. There are no kind of evergreen magnolias right now currently in the park. It would be nice to have a little bit of evergreen trees there. So we have those 4 there. And then we have pergolas on either side that you'll be able to see some renderings that would have hanging benches. But the thought with that is there could be places for people to sit, tables and chairs. And the center pathway would actually be the Brassfield vines with a cobblestone curbing, but then underneath the pergola and the patios that are going out to the side would be brick. And so again, a little bit of the nod to the brick street that used to be, underneath Columbia Avenue. As we move forward towards the north, we again have now 3 of the catalpas, and then, tulip poplars. 3 on each side. And with the semicircle on the north, it is repeated, except that we don't have the follies there. So we wanted to do something that is equally as special as an entry point. And so we decided to have basically an arc of tricolor beech. And those beech then are also the beech trees that we are removing. Just a little bit of, sorry, we love you. We're bringing back some different types of beech. And it's a beautiful tree, it has a beautiful color, and it should do quite well in this area. The Jones Studio also created a couple renderings that I think would be helpful. So Grant, if you could go to those. And if you, roll up all the way to the top. Keep going. Okay, so the plan, little more, no, next one. Plan view, this one. Oh, no, the one just before this one, the aerial, other directions. Stop, Eric. Stop.
There's a delay.
So you can see the circle in the center. The intent is that stone wall at 18 inches is a seating wall, basically. So additional seating, people can come up, but just having 2 steps that would come up just to allow to encourage that flow coming through. With the pergolas, it is a double row, and the renderings will show it better, but in the center kind of pie section that has 2 rows of columns. And then on the little wings on the side, it is just 1 row of columns that would have swings that could come down. We're hoping that we can have swings that potentially are backless, that you can kind of look in both directions. So it kind of depends on what you're looking at. Grant, if we could go to the rendering views, just with the first one. Go through it, Grant. All right, so here you can see then the tree that catalpa in the center is estimated, not the installation size, but what we hope it will be in 10 to 15 years. But with this, the pergola and the patio, if any kind of jazz in the park happens, we would have electrical here. To be able to have that almost as a mini stage, but also be able to have tables and chairs potentially there so people can kind of sit and read or watch their kids practice with soccer, and then with the benches on the side. It's something that is much more understated than some of the kind of original designs that we're looking at. It is simply a white oak pergola with some metal details. Grant, if you could go to the next view. This is looking in at the entrance and with the bollards, just to help let people know that this is a pedestrian space with just very simple signage that is, is very similar to some of the sign packages that the city is doing. That would just have Commonwealth Park on both sides. We went back and forth with whether or not there should be a big monument sign, should it be brick, should it be, all of this. And again, the thought is let's just keep it simple and elegant. Brick columns, brick pavers and everything is really more associated with Jeffrey, and so we didn't necessarily want to confuse that, and so we're keeping that a little bit more simple. A view looking down Columbia or looking up north to what that would look like. And then some views now of the pergola and the detailing of the pergola and the stone wall. The idea is that that stone wall would be the same stone as the volleys. And so we would just bring that in, trying to connect everything together. Different view of the Catawba with the steps coming up. And there will be just a slight mound in that as well. That might go last on. Okay. So we're at a point now where we're at the end of kind of our conceptual design for development. And the intent is to get your comments, get your feedback, and as a recommendation to then share with the rec board at the beginning of next month. And if everyone is good with this, we would like to then move into construction drawings and really finalize the size of the species, the details of everything. Start looking for contractors to actually bid it out and get this installed. Hopefully, also by the end of next year. So hopefully.
All right, thank you, Alma. Are there any public comments? Seeing none. Commission members, questions? Remember, we do questions and then comments.
Sprinkler. Is there what? Is there a sprinkler system around the streets?
Well, we would probably, I think we could definitely, there's an irrigation system and the booster pump in the house, in the park, in the pump house, it's certainly irrigate the area.
Otherwise, who's been watering the trees?
Well, can anybody hear me?
As much as they're needed then.
I don't know. Maybe.
So one of the things, so irrigation systems it is a little bit of a misnomer to think that an irrigation system is going to water in a tree in that first year. And so irrigation with the maintenance mainly of shrubs and perennials. In order for the trees to be healthy for the first year, you either want to have gator bags on them that you're refilling every week, or you have someone out there will do the deep watering during that first year. And so that's definitely some. So the irrigation system, because we've had issues, I've had issues, with my own clients, and they're like, why an irrigation system? Why did the tree die? Well, the tree needs a lot of water in the first year that the irrigation system can provide. But we would make sure that they are watered and that they would take.
A lot of new trees going.
Other questions?
I have one. Can anybody hear me? I don't have a oh, wait, I'm on the comments. I can talk later during comments instead of questions.
Well, while we have you, why don't we go forward?
Okay. All right. Of course, this is a very elegantly designed, very thoughtful, well thought out design. And Elena has done a beautiful job of describing it. There, when she said something sort of helped me get my thoughts together conclusively when she was talking about the entrance on the Drexel side and then extending it to the next section and saying just as elegant and simple. It wasn't simple. I'm starting to think that this is starting to look a little bit like a Greek gathering place that has almost too much form for it, for such a an open space that people are used to having. And that these are my opinions, but it may not matter to others so much, but I think it's a little bit overdone and people won't feel so relaxed in it.
Thanks so much. Are you done or were you?
Okay.
I think Celeste, that was all Celeste had.
Did anybody hear that? I'm
Yeah, we
sorry.
all heard that. Just want to
Okay.
make sure you finish.
Yes, that's fine. A little bit overdone, too much hardscape. And the shrubs make it look like a barrier. There are barriers where the shrubs are continuous around the circle. Okay, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Celeste. Other questions?
Question, how much usage are the two halves of the parcel used for practice and particularly for any activity?
All the time. All the time.
Because at one point I thought we talked about making it a one park so you wouldn't have all this stuff in the middle. So you could allow bigger.
So the intent and the master plan always had something kind of in the center, right, as a focal point for the original plot plan. And then right now there is not, right now it was a road, and so it was never any kind of usable space. And then it was a massive road that we were putting in, and that felt even more overdone in terms of hardscape and moving forward, and that was one of the reasons why we backed out of that. Then with this, one of the thoughts is we are still maintaining the playfields on both the east and the west side. This harkens to the original formality of the plot plan that was intended and some of the inspirational images that the master plan had directed that they liked with the park to move forward with. And moving through, I think that there's a difference. We're trying to keep as much of the existing trees as possible with that, but they start to kind of break down. And having that formality of coming through, there's really no opportunity for us with this open space within Bexley to have something that looks like that, right? So we have Havenwood that is very natural and very open. We have the east and the west side of the Commonwealth that we are trying to have a very open and park-like setting, and we'll be extending the paths throughout that. And the connection, I think, despite the fact that you see an alley of trees, they're spaced such that you can still go through them. And having a spot in the center as a focal point for people to sit who are not engaged necessarily in the practices are going through, that they might want to walk through and just sit and read a book and have a spot for them to do that. So it's a little bit of, this is kind of our biggest area that we have to have that type of impressive kind of path through a park.
We do comments also.
Well, let's finish questions. Susan, do you have questions?
Oh, I wanted to ask about the tricolor beach to understand if your grant feel that they'll be in enough shade. I find that the tricolor beach don't respond well to a lot of sun and heat curls their little wings, so just wanted to make sure there's enough southern canopy that they won't be in direct sunlight. Give me a sense of that.
I do not, I haven't really looked into that, but I mean, there's a lot of overstory in that area. I don't think it's something that. I would definitely look into that.
More questions?
No, I have a discussion on it.
Okay, I just have a couple questions before we move to discussion. My recollection is that back a while ago, we looked at sort of a couple concepts, and the concern around the alley of trees was if we lose one, the symmetry gets lost. We've gotten past that concern, and do we have a solution if we lose a tree there?
Yes, I think that we've gotten past that concern in terms of that it's not as formal as a French garden, that it would necessarily look like it's a missing tooth. And tulip poplars grow very, very fast, and that was one of the reasons why we chose that. So I think we discussed it and then decided there's really nothing that you can do about that.
I think that was my only question. So ready for some discussion. We've heard, I think Celeste's concern. Fire.
So the noise they need for the wind protection, will they have enough? Are they, I don't know the side at all.
Yes, I think go ahead enough there. Yeah, as out of the center. Yeah. Okay.
Okay, any other questions? Just make sure.
comments.
We're ready for comments.
I mean, it's lovely design. It just feels so different from anything else in the Bexley parks, right? I mean, like what's in South Bexley. For me, it's, I guess, too formal. I think I prefer less.
Okay. Other comments?
So I think, in my opinion, there's a lot of formality to it, but I think the airiness of it and the fact that the columns are wood sort of gives it a feeling that it blends into the surroundings more than being, let's say, white cement pillars or Corinthian, pillars. I also think that with the trees surrounding it, it gives that area focal point, from Blowers, I drive home and I always drive on Commonwealth South, and I keep thinking there needs to be some reason to go into the middle of that park. I remember Larry Hellman talking from the first master design about the fact that there had to be paths within the park, because otherwise people just walk the sidewalks. There's nothing leading them in. And I think about how I've met people at the pond who say, I would walk this every day. I mean, I think that was the mayor's intention doing it, leading them in, and I keep thinking, why would I even go in here as Columbia meets that? Because what am I gonna do? I mean, there aren't any sidewalks, there aren't any paths, there's no reason to go there, and it feels, of course, there isn't anything right there now, so it feels like it's awkward. I mean, you're sort of, you don't have anything to get close to, so I like the design. I think it'll be a long time before it feels really busy, even with the fast growing tulip poplars, because they're starting from nothing. And by that time, I would assume the woodward weather and it will look even more like it just kind of fits in.
Other comments?
I think the formal setting of that circle on Commonwealth marries this together. We have activity on the east side, we have activity on the west side. This brings a really excellent blend to the formality of the setting. I think it's very tastefully done. I think from the beginning to where we are now, it was a perfect timing to sort all those things out. And I think it's going to be great. I hope I'm still around when the trees are all grown, and thank you for your great work.
Other comments?
I think that is also a beautiful design, and I think the fact that the streets no longer there, opened up space that now can be used. So it's great. I think had left because somebody told me that they missed the street because they can't walk the whole circle now with their dog, because they just keep walking that far, so maybe you want to consider opening up the park to dogs too. Oh, probably
Not within our jurisdiction. And probably would have to recuse myself as a dog owner. I would concur with, Mayor, did you want?
I can comment on that. We have been talking about opening the paths. I'm in support of that, so I'm trying to work with the powers to be. And donation.
That's right.
So, yeah, I have a comment on the design. I like the design. I liked the alley before when we were talking conceptually, and even if this is a lighter and breezier version of that, I think Commonwealth's big enough to hold some different concepts within it, and I think that's in other cities, the parks that blend different concepts is something that I enjoy. I think it creates a public space, which I think is something that, just as, I guess to call it public policy, is something that we ought to be doing, is creating spaces where people can come together. I would avoid using the term grassy knoll. But other than that, I like the design, so. If we're ready to move towards a motion again, I think we should give Walter an opportunity to provide comments. And I don't know if anyone wants to suggest comments we would add as part of a motion or simply approve it with the proviso that Walter would be given an opportunity to comment.
I would just needing some clarity. Is this a recommendation to Parks and Rec? So is
we
it
would-
approval or?
Well, it would be we would move to make the recommendation to Parks and Rec that they approve the design as presented. With the opportunity for Walter to provide comments, if that's what you all want. So, Mary, when you say fine, can I take that as you having said that you would move to recommend to Parks and Rec, the rec board, approval of this design subject to Walter's further comment?
Okay, I make a motion to approve this plan as presented to Parks and Rec Board with the understanding that Walter Raines has an opportunity to also provide comment.
Is there a second?
Second.
Further discussion? All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Elena. Always good to see you.
Me too.
If I could ask one question, knowing that Sheila's worried about the timeline for this as it fits into her life journey.
Yeah.
Do you have any sense of the of the timeframe for this?
As soon as possible. I mean, I think what happens is that so next in December, early December, we would be going to the rec board and getting their approval. And then after that, it does still need to, I mean, we have beautiful renderings and we have beautiful drawings. We need to have a little bit more construction level drawings so that we can actually get a bid. And so the thought is that that would happen most likely during the winter months. And ideally, it would be great if we could go out to bid in spring, early summer and have this kind of completed.
We definitely want to sell next year, so.
Yeah. I was hoping to be still.
We're also. Yes.
Ms. Chair, I would like to note that Celeste would like to abstain from the vote.
Okay, we will note that Celeste abstained from the vote. Thank you, Celeste. With that, thank you, Elena. And next item on our agenda is a resident concern. I think we have Eric, hopefully I'll pronounce your last name correctly. Elizondo. Thank you. If you would introduce yourself and state your address. And Matt and Grant, I just a little while ago sent you some pictures that Eric had sent us earlier today. Did you either of you get those or? They were,
Email.
yeah,
I had an ad, a late ad, that I sent you another tree in the front yard of them. So, my name is Eric Alzando, a resident of Bexley. I'm just the longest something keep it. It's only 2 years or so. She was my realtor at times. I live on 195 South Roosevelt Avenue, right there at the intersection of Howell. So I'm on the northwest corner. And lived there now since 2017. And love it. I am on the parade route, of course. The work that was just presented, I didn't comment whether I just brought up a work, but the Roosevelt work of us is really great to have. I love the work that's been done so far in Commonwealth. I don't think it's too formal. I think it's wonderful to be able to enter into that park and have a place to sit. I think we will definitely need a reason to do that. My daughter plays soccer on the west side, and she's a little girl, and there should be plenty of space for that too. So there. I'm here because we've got a couple of trees that are in the median. The first one I want to talk about is on Powell, so it's south of my house. It's kind of like just off my front yard. It's kind of sitting in the front edge, kind of south. Southeast of the house. I think that Grant was first of all, I appreciate you guys, Grant, asking me to come in here and talk to you guys. So you can see that's the tree right there. So there's my house, the stone house at the corner, and there's now, this is looking west. so I don't know longer, was it 3, 4 years ago that they came through and they kind of cleaned out and they did it all on the street. This tree, I think is very healthy. It's continuing to sort of sprout and it's even heavier in the center now with growing sort of younger branches. I reached out to Grant because I'm concerned about just one limb that's extending over my house. And that one is tough to see from this view. I took a bunch of pictures. Actually, it's easier to see now because the leaves are gone. A lot of the leaves are gone, but you know, these trees, and I talked to Sheila about this on the phone. I sent pictures. You guys know that it made these trees really unstable, you know, and I've had a lot of stuff. There's one rotting limb that I took another picture of today. I'll send it to you guys later, but and it's on the side of the house. And it's a short limb. There's a lot of fall out of this tree, like limbs are dying, and there's, I mean, some of them are pretty big. When I say big, I'm talking like 5 to like 8 feet and about this big around. So those have a tendency to fall on my house and to fall on landscape. And fortunately, that fall on anyone walking this street, you know, like you guys have Bexley, tons of dog walkers, tons of kids. You know, so the tree is, I think, struggling a little bit because of that ability that, you know, he came through here and sort of picked up the wires. Grant suggested, you know, just take the tree down. You know, I think that is a solution. And I'm fine with that. Like, if that's your guys' recommendation, I'm perfectly fine with removal of the tree. I removed 2 sweet gums from this property, and really the only reason I removed them is because I couldn't walk on my grass. But they're so invasive in terms of the sweet gum, how they have this you know, spiky balls, and they also I couldn't my lawn really to grow in a healthy way. So they was just sort of a problem. And I did replace the one that was sweet gum in the corner of that fence that you see right there, just where you can see some of the evergreens in the backyard. But I did replace the other one with a river approach in front. So that's the tree I'm concerned about. And I'm just looking for some assistance, some recommendation of whether you guys would like to do. You know, we could, you know, I could call the city and just say these are some, you know, these are some areas that maybe need to trim or cleaned out. Like when I say cleaned out, there's just some limbs that sometimes it's hanging in the tree that are dead and fall. So I don't know what to do with that, whether you guys come out and remove them. I don't know. So I just want some recommendations from this group and street, and then we can talk about them.
Thank you. So we will hear from Grant. We'll give you an opportunity to respond, but because of experiences in the past, we won't get into a debate in front of us, but we'll have the opportunity.
I hope this is very conversational. You know, I just looking for stuff.
Grant?
My understanding was that you wanted the limbs cut off that are overhanging the house. Which would be.
No, I think those could stay. I think all those could stay.
We had pruned this tree, so AEP came in. This is one of those conundrums in Bexley where it's the wrong tree in the wrong location. It's been U-shaped for the power lines. It's been desuckered year after year. And honey locusts are really good shedders. They do shed a lot of dead wood throughout the year, which doesn't mean the tree's not healthy. It's just what honey locusts do, you know, really plant them anymore in the city. I feel pruning any more large limbs off this tree is really just going to not do well for the health of the tree. And that's when I recommended that the tree doesn't need to be removed, but this is one of those trees that really the wrong tree for the wrong location, and removal and planting 5 or 6 trees, maybe not 5 or 6, but 3 or 4 trees of the right species in this location would be more beneficial than trying to milk this tree along for however many years we had. But
What would be the replacement tree on that street?
wow. Great question.
Sorry, wasn't trending.
Isn't there different widths there for a tree line?
No, the same thing on where
There's a smaller tree that I'm not sure the species I actually got this species from too. It's national. There's a tree, you can see it on it's near the end of my fence, so. And it's a much smaller tree, probably will not grow much more than that. I'm not sure the species, but it has beautiful white color in the spring.
I think it's a crab apple. I think we're planting either maybe to lemon something.
Is that about how big that tree was?
That tree was like an
Yeah, yeah, so and it's good because it doesn't, I've actually, myself, some of the ones that have come over the fence, I have trimmed some of those, so I apologize. But I think those. Don't say it, don't say the most. Very small. But yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm just looking for recommendations, guys, from you guys.
Granted, was there anything more you wanted to say?
No.
Okay. Folks from the commission have questions or?
Great.
For either the Eric or Grant?
Healthy.
It is, yes.
Why would we cut it down?
I'm not saying we should cut it down. He's right, wanting, the homeowner is wanting it off the roof. And some of the larger limbs that overhang his side of the property, which I don't think would be healthy for the tree.
Right, no, I get that, but I'm just saying, why would we cut it down? So healthy.
It's the wrong tree in the wrong location. Would be my, why we would cut it down.
Susan?
Grant, could you plant 2, 3 trees there now with this tree still viable?
You could, I don't know what the underground utilities are there.
Right, but I mean,
Current
right,
with that tree there.
right.
I mean, I'm sure we could fit one or two.
Well, I just was trying to think of doing something forward thinking while this one, you know,
But this is a very young.
oh, it is.
It's not, I mean,
It's not gonna go anywhere fast.
It's not gonna go anywhere.
Brad, in power line, is there any A piece that we gotta come through here because clear that out for something that's happening down the line? I mean, is that
That's what
their
they
job?
That's what they done. They've
That's
done.
what they do. I mean,
Yeah, every 5 years they come through the city and they need to have their clearance of 10 feet. Around the power.
This tree actually, we did take a ton, there's some other trees.
Yeah.
All. They don't, I don't think they necessarily. I don't think they're very conditions, I guess you could say about.
Right, and these are just, yeah, these are those, things. Whoever planted them 30, 40 years ago, probably shouldn't.
Well, so I think most members of the commission know that I'm not inclined at all to remove trees. But I guess my concern is frankly resources. I mean, we've got as many trees as residents in Bexley. And if this tree is sort of needing extraordinary amounts of maintenance, that's taking the crews away from other maintenance that they could be doing. I just wonder whether we'd be better off planting a more appropriate species there and 2 or 3 trees instead of 1. And we'd recover the canopy at least in time. And we reduce the maintenance. I don't know, Grant, whether that is any logic to it, or it's just one of my normal mistakes. So
No, I mean, the maintenance has been done on the street, typically we prune trees every 7 to 10 years. AEP comes in and I would say prune, but they maintain the tree every 5 years, 5 or 6 years. That's, yeah, I mean, I think with the removal of this tree and putting in the appropriate tree would be the best fit for both the current homeowner and the city, would be my recommendation.
Well, I drive that often, because my son lives on Roosevelt, 28, and then you have that great garage, don't you?
Yes, I do.
Well,
But then there's another one that's closer to Cassidy that also has that wonderful
There's a
shape.
lot, and we are slowly, starting to remove that, because of the fact that they're not providing any serious benefit.
I think it sounds like a solution. Would you be comfortable with that, Aaron? If you
I'm
think most
comfortable.
appropriate?
Yeah, I'm comfortable with the trees, the trees removed, and there's, I'm fine with 2 or 3, like 3, whatever you guys recommend there. I do think the tree is a safety issue. And I am concerned, I said, email to Grant that, you know, if some of this tree falls onto my house, I'm responsible, like, I have, insurance, but like, there's elements of this tree that I'm concerned that if it does fall, that, you know, it's gonna damage. So, and that was why I reached out to Grant. And, so I just wanted to bring you guys' attention, you know, it actually came to be more of a concern when the front tree did fall down in front of my house. So the other problem I wanted to bring up was the tree in front of my house, all the people split in half this summer. And it looked to me like there was some rot now, you can kind of see it clearly, and it was undetectable. Turn that tree. So that tree now is half the size. This is an old view of, no, not that one, the one on
The
the
street tree.
Yeah, street tree. So the tree that's at the street, yep, that one right there. And I don't know the species of that tree. There's two that are the same on that are in front of my house. So that tree is half the size now. So about right in the middle, there was some rot, and I think you probably can see it before. So I called, you guys came out, like an hour, it pops up. That whole tree was across the road. So I'm now that day. Fortunately, I'm retired and I moved the tree out of the road. It did fall on it. But so that tree obviously looks way more healthy. And that tree's not very old. And it split in half. And it was not, I don't think it was just a little heavy. When I think when that day was like 20 miles an hour. So it wasn't that bad. So that's the other thing I'm bringing up, is that tree either needs to be removed or maybe needs trimmed back or needs to at least be looked at. By maybe, again. Figure out which one to do with it. But it's in no danger, like now, it's fine. But it's just,
So I think we need to come to a decision as to what we want to do with the honey locust. And
yeah, that's the picture, that's the tree now. That's what I'm saying, just.
I'm not sensing a consensus yet, so I would entertain a motion. Well, let me just make sure, Celeste, is there anything you wanted to say? Because I don't want to pass by you if you have something you want to add.
Hi, yes, well, I had sent a note to Susan, and I am concerned that the first tree is not viable, and the second one is probably looks very nice and it's growing nicely around the wires, but as soon as the electric company comes, I think that it'll be problematic. I like the idea of 2 new trees, but the first one is a hazard to our community, to the gentleman here presenting his problem. Thank you.
Thank you, Celeste. So does someone want to make a motion?
Well, I just want to make a comment.
Yes.
Grant, you did say in your email originally that, you said the tree, you pruned the tree a few years ago, it was healthy and we cannot do anything more on the top, so. I assume you just had no plans to do anything further, is that correct?
That is correct.
Any other questions? If not, are we ready for a motion?
I have a question. Take out the tulip compliments in half now, would it just replace it with another on the streets?
I don't know that we would take out that. With some pruning and maybe managing the canopy a little better, I think it'll be fine. You know, there's included bark and all kinds of things, but the storms we had this early spring and summer, I mean, they could have cracked in one of those storms and then fell on a really nice sunny day, it's typically what happens. So. But we would have to evaluate that tree before we cut it.
Yeah, I don't, at least my view is we're not prepared to take any action on the tulip poplar today. I think that, you know, let Grant continue to work on that and we'll.
Yeah, I think that's fine, yeah. I just want to bring guys' attention.
So,
I would like to make a motion in regards to our locust tree, that it be removed and replaced with 2 or 3 trees as per what Grant recommends. That's most appropriate for the conditions of that strip. I have seen that tree and what has been done to it. It doesn't look healthy. I think if it were trimmed more, it's so unbalanced right now that I don't see that as worthy of trimming it anymore.
is there a second?
Well, it was. not
Wait, before we can discuss it, we need a second.
Yeah, okay.
So, can we have a second? Mary,
Like I said, it wasn't going to be trimmed anymore, so, given that current condition of it is still healthy, then I don't understand why we would remove it.
Have you seen it physically in person?
I drive by there all the time. So.
I think it's just a matter of time between that one and then one further down towards Cassidy. It's just. Yeah, they're gonna
Do we typically see that happen, Grant, those kind of trees?
Honey locusts are, yeah, that. I don't think this is the case for this tree, but yes, honey locusts are notorious for cracking. And then losing limbs later on. I will say the majority of the trees that we do have storm damage with early in the spring are.
That mistake.
Yeah,
sorry,
no, that's fine, I'm sorry.
where I think if there are no other comments, we are ready to vote. So the motion before you is to authorize Grant to remove the tree and replace it with 2 or 3 new trees according to the resources of the city and its ability to plant new trees. Presumably, we would plant the street species unless there's a reason left, right? So that's the motion before you. All those in favor of the motion, I think that since this might be a divided vote, it would be best for us to raise hands. All those in favor, raise your hand, and Celeste, I'm going to ask where you are. Well, actually, it's not as divided as I thought.
Yep.
Celeste, are you in favor of this
Yep.
motion or?
I'm here. I'm for the motion. Yes, I vote for the motion.
And there's no one left to vote against it, so the motion carries. Thank you. I appreciate you coming in.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me.
Mhm.
You guys do great work. I saw those.
But we love guests.
Yeah.
We're here every month.
Yeah, when there's really nice plans, I am an architect or retired architect, so I love stuff. I think the structures and part of the Commonwealth would be fun. So, yeah, nice place to sit.
So thanks for being with us.
Thanks, Aaron.
All right, let's move through some fun. Matt, last month, I think you shared with us the sort of initial documents. Is there anything further on that framework for evaluating and reviewing landscape applications that we should consider today?
That's what I've been diligently working on over here to get it onto our OpenGov platform, and we are ready to go live with it. So, just so you all know, I'm changing the application nomenclature from TPGC or TPGR to just LANT lanes. And then they'll determine whether it's a residential, commercial, and we can sort our reports from there. So it'll just be one landscape application. I noticed people are confused about a TPGR or TPGC, and they'll select the right one. By the time they select it, it's already record created and it's wrong. So we just roll it. So LANT is much simpler, and we're ready to go as long as you all voted on it last time. So I think we're okay.
That's my understanding. I just wanted to make sure had everything you needed from us, so. And you've seen constant improvement in the city right in front of you. So.
If I could, yield the rest of my time to our, mayor. I would, so what's gonna ask me to chair, is okay, if I give my update.
You sure can, Mayor.
I have a kid that takes hockey and I have to feed him for
Oh, that's what I always forgot to do with my kids.
Yeah, it helps. It helps. So I just have a couple quick updates here from the city's side. The bridge at Schneider Park has been awarded to contractor and is set to begin here in spring. I think usually Saturday. So some contract. I believe that the library entryway and park contract has been signed as well. So many things are afoot. The skate park, which is right next to the bridge, is under active construction. It's really cool. There'll be a ton of plans because you guys know around that. So we're trying to get geared up with the spring install for that. College Avenue Gateway design work is proceeding, coming for you all at some point. As Eleanor reached out to, I would work with kind of latest. Think she will be doing that soon. Last night at council, this has nothing to do with trees unless an e-bike should hit a tree. But there's been great resident interest in it, so we did regulate, pass an ordinance regulating, further regulating e-bike and scooter use. Just try to tamp down on some of the middle school e-biker gangs we're seeing out there. There's also a new noise ordinance, just introduced by council last night, which does have to do with trees, because studies have shown trees don't like noise. 2026 budget is also before council. It has really robust, continued robust support for our tree planting program. I used to right was in there. CFA, continued investment in our landscape design program. So that's looking good. Also some additional resources for the planning function of the city in terms of just ensuring that as we approve projects, we're doing more and more inspection as they're being constructed and they're being started to spend. So those are all things that are in our budget for 2026, and I'm happy to answer your questions.
I have a question. It's not really a tree commission question, but
I'll spit.
will the Snyder Park Trail be reopened when the skate park's done, or is that gonna wait for the bridge to be done?
I think it'll most likely wait for the bridge. The trail's been pretty damaged already, the skate park installed. The bridge project is gonna be pretty intense. Another area of the park restoration that path. So I think that we can open up to a point, which is probably gonna have that great connection. Less than different about that. Okay. But we also want to make sure that we don't want to open the skate park until everything's ready to go. So there'll be a period of time where it's done, the actual hardscape is finished. But then landscape hasn't been installed, the connections aren't there, so it will be fenced off for a while. Like not for kids out there.
Other questions?
Can you share any information about our complex next door as to projection with, I have a lot of clients that are Trotsky.
Yeah, so they are hoping to get some retail and office opens as soon as spring of 2026. They're about to cut into access to the garage. We are waiting to hear a little bit more about the tenant build out of the restaurant unit adjacent to the pocket park. So we just had a meeting recently about that pocket park design edge. So yeah, spring, and then the residential units hoping by the summer. Okay.
Thank you.
What are letting you answer the question about practice? Yeah. Yeah, there are 3 floors of residential on it first. Okay. There you go.
Thank you.
Get other rented up so that you can sell the houses.
There's a lot of conversation there. Thank you.
Other questions? Thank you, Mayor.
I apologize, but it's been great, yes.
At last week or last month, we sort of very quickly talked about land use strategy. I think council's now approved that, so I guess our role at this point would be thinking at some point about how we might contribute to the implementation of that plan. Is that fair?
Yeah, I would encourage all of you to get on our website. You can find the Bexley and land use strategy there. And I think it's a close to 70-page document, something like that. But it's large fonts and lots of pictures, so it's easy reading, I'll say. Review all of it, and you can bring me ideas next month, or if you guys have ideas about you can be a part of it. I think more importantly is the commercial design guidelines. That's important. So I think Brian Kent Jones and Abby Emerson are two sort of architects, planners that are working on that. Should have a good update for that committee in December. So that's going to be key. And Elena and we've had some good, and Susan, we've had some good participation regarding landscaping on that committee.
So we've covered that one too on our agenda.
I will say just a couple quick things. We have some changes going on Main Street, so I think there's a new tenant going in across from Dr. Carroll's office. I think they're looking to put a candy shop in across from the dentist's office, so that's kind of
A symbiotic relation.
right. So I think there might be some landscaping there to come before you. I'm not 100% sure, so working with our architect and Pat Ryan on that, see what's going on there. And then First Financial Bank is doing a run. They're in front of the architectural review board currently. And then they're trying to get their architecture done, and then they said, so if anyone saw the notification last month, I put them on this meeting. I notified that they would be here only because I wasn't sure of their timing, and if they were ready, I didn't want to make them wait another month. And they said at the ARB last week, we're not ready. So I'll re-notice it when it goes back out, but they should be coming.
So we might have them in December, possibly.
Maybe.
It'd be fine if we did.
No, you will not have them
Okay.
December, because they're going to December VSAP because they need a variance.
Okay.
They would like to get rid of their front door. And those columns that are along the street there. So that's before VSAP, and then they have to go back to ARB because ARB has remanded it back to them. So my guess would be January, but I just wanted to update you on that. And that's all the updates there.
Okay.
Where's the candy store?
Across from Dr. Carroll's dentist office, so kind of.
In the old Swan thing?
No, farther west.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't even remember what's there. It's a nondescript gray building. It's kind of next to Johnson's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Any update on Cafe Istanbul?
No updates.
I really would like to have Trader Joe's there.
All's quiet, right? I've had 4 groups come ask me about things and the grocery store, all restaurants.
Before we leave the land use strategy report, I would just, typically at the December meeting, we do plan, take some time sort of reviewing our year, right, thinking about what we might want to do next year. And I think that land use strategy report could be a thought provoker in terms of that conversation. So I'll remind everyone before our next meeting, but I would think about reviewing that. Especially, both the commercial areas, but also the residential areas, and how we can contribute to the recommendations. Let's see. Grant, do you have anything on invasive species and tree selection for us? I know that Walter's been traveling, so.
Not currently. I think we're still kind of, I think we left it with tree commission emailing us some kind of suggestions that they would like to see.
I have that too, I meant to send.
So that's kind of where we're at with it.
So I will remind folks after this meeting to send Grant, so they send it to you and Walter, suggestions for both.
So it's suggestions, so we're doing the invasive species or the invasive species, and what's your recommendation for replacing, like say you don't like variety. Even though variety is not technically an invasive species, But what would you suggest, instead of saying we don't like that to the client, we could say, these are our suggested replacements for such and such.
Maybe we should retitle it as overused species.
Even the city of writing about 10 years ago. So. But that's
Well, I
the
mean-
list we're kind of working.
Okay, because all I did were invasive species when I did my list. So.
I'll work with Grant to send a clear request for your input, in the next, well, probably you'll get it the Monday after Thanksgiving, because if I send it to you between now and Thanksgiving, I don't think you're gonna act on it, so maybe merit. That's actually a good, maybe segue. We had a meeting of the ordinance review working group this past Monday morning, which I thought was a very productive session, making good progress. The focus was on what the members thought was appropriate to plant between the street and the sidewalk, and then behind the sidewalk, and possibly creating zones behind the sidewalk for some of the areas where the right of way is deeper than normal. I will say that in that conversation, this is the segue, that there was some support among the council members for an active campaign to remove invasive species like honeysuckle in that area, to incent residents to do that. So
Yeah.
that's out there. I think, I thought it was, we did more work in that meeting than we have in all
We
the
had
other
in
ones.
mind the last three, that was like, it was a great meeting, obviously, and it, we thought about, like, zoning out to different right of ways of, what's behind the sidewalk. So, great meeting.
Why don't, I'm gonna just jump around before we go to Arbor Day planning. Grant, did you have anything else you wanted to report on?
The fall tree planting is going well. We still have the oaks that need to go in. They haven't been dug yet, so they're still going in. Fair Avenue project is pretty much done. I don't think we hear this, the Fair Avenue project. I know a lot of people panicked when we cut all the trees down on that one island just east of Accident, but I think it's looking good. Police station was planted. If you haven't been by the PD, it looks really good. The ground cover of Bellwood, Pleasant Ridge Highlands have been planted. So we did the native sedges there, and I can't really get wild ginger.
Native.
What's that?
It's from Canada or whatever, wild ginger, the native ginger.
Yeah. The fall tree giveaway is not going to happen, so I spoke with Franklin Soil and Water. They're in a transition with the staff there, so the person that I needed to contact was not there, and they were hiring a new person, which I had not made contact with, so we're actually gonna have a class here at City Hall. So then we can give out, you have to come here to attend the class, then you get a free tree, and then whatever, I don't know what the funds are that we have to give away with that. I think we got all agreed on $300. To have a contractor plant a tree.
Yeah.
So. That will happen early in spring. I think that's about it.
Thanks, Grant. Thanks for all your wood. And I'm sure leaf pickup is going swimming.
Honestly, I don't have anything to do with the pickup.
Oh, you done?
It's all service. So,
Congratulations on
yeah,
that.
I'm ready.
Arbor Day. So, unfortunately, Susan had to leave, and Susan knows way more about what we've done on Arbor Day. But it's time to start planning for this year. I think my recollection is, Mary, you've already, as usual, are ahead of the curve and have been working on some things. So maybe you can talk a little bit about that. And then I think we could talk about some of the things we've done in the past. I think the goal is to see who might be interested in forming a little working group on this. So.
Well, last year we did, that was for the Woods Festival, where we did the tree climbing.
Oh, yeah, that was so fun.
We do first an Arbor Day week where they have recycling and stuff at the soccer field, Schneider Park. I think that we did young kid tree planting.
So we also bring in a speaker, and the speaker that we're bringing in April is Mike Tidwell, who wrote The Lost Trees of Willow Avenue, a story of climate and hope on One American Street. He's also started a sort of a climate change lobbying group in DC. He's from just outside of DC. And I didn't realize this was going to come out tonight, or really have details, but date, I forget, it's like the first or second week in April, but more to come on that.
No, it wasn't intended to be a cross examination of your planning, Mary. You're ahead of the rest of us. It was really, as usual, Mary's got things well underway, but are there others that would be willing to be part of a working group to plan? I mean, last year I thought part of that was the movie that we showed. And I have no idea how that came to be, but it was a really successful event. And so I think that.
You're so responsible for that. And actually, we discussed doing it again. So yeah, the working group, great. And of course, I'll be in.
Mary, are we on it? Anyone else?
I'll do.
Brenda?
Hi.
Sheila, you'll continue
Yeah.
doing heritage.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'll help. I'll help. I may not be in, yes, I may not be in town, but I will help. Yep.
We will find you.
Yeah.
Or come with me.
Yeah, okay. All right. I think we have a working group. I think Susan and I will probably be part of that too. So probably be almost a quorum or more than a quorum of the tree commission. So
And you'll be retired by then.
I'll be retired. I have nothing to do with
What's a part of that?
With that, is anyone interested in adjourning our meeting?
Make a motion to adjourn. All right, and I second that motion.
Any opposition? With no opposition, you're adjourned.
But it's not 6 o'clock.
Yeah, well, I think last month we
Yeah.
we owed ourselves some time back from last month. So Les, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Okay. Great. Thank you, everyone.
Trees.